Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back once again to Wheel Takes, a podcast about me almost choking and starting to cough in the introduction, and also about The Wheel of Time, a series of fantasy novels written by Robert Jordan and completed by Brandon Sanderson. I've said that 2 times. My name is Gus, and I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie, and I am on book 12, chapter 22.
Not even a little bit.
No?
30.
Oh, sweet.
You have read through. This podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie's already read. And again, today, that is everything up to and including The Gathering Storm, chapter 30, which is called Old Advice. Allie, how's it going?
It's going well. I'm happy. Everything's good.
You have on a sweatshirt that has a goose in a cage.
Yes.
And the caption under the goose in the cage reads what?
Got too silly.
It is one of my favorite gifts I've ever given you was I gave you a bunch of goose-themed sweatshirts this year.
Yes. I have one that says Silly Goose is on the loose, which has a little goose just stepping. He's just happy. And then I have one that says, today I am a serious goose, and it's a goose with a little necktie. And then I've got this one that says got too silly, and it's the goose in jail. And then I have one that has a goose with a knife in its beak that says peace was never an option. And those are my goose sweatshirts.
I like to think that
I'm afraid of geese, which is funny.
You can form these together into a narrative in almost any direction you want.
Yeah, you really could, because it could be a serious goose that snaps and then goes to jail and then gets out, or they could start as a silly goose
who gets too silly,
starts stabbing people,
and then has
goes
to become
to jail and then becomes a serious goose. There are many ways in which this could go.
Yeah.
It could start as the goose was in jail.
He is a serious goose. He becomes silly, and then he goes on a rampage. Or he could go on a rampage.
The rampage leads to him getting to be silly and on the loose.
Yeah.
There's many ways this narrative could go. You're right.
There are neither beginnings nor endings to the Wheel of Goose. But there is, technically...
A goose.
A goose. A Wheel of Time. Allie, you know what? Books. We're doing this thing where we're gonna like bang out a bunch of episodes back to back. Y'all aren't gonna hear them for a while, but the show's coming up. The Wheel of Time show is coming up very soon, so we want to try to get a jump on things.
Oh yeah, the Grinwell Cup. We cannot do that at the same time as the show coverage. We just can't, and maintain our sanity.
March is shaping up to be a nightmare apocalypse style month of podcasting for us, in that we have the show coming out, which will probably be our main focus. We have Sunrise on the Reaping releasing, the new Hunger Games book, which we will of course be covering. We were supposed to do the Grinwell Cup, but absolutely the fuck are not going to do that simultaneous to these other things.
At one time with all of our other jobs.
And we don't want to totally drop the books. So what we're hoping to do between now and the air date of the first 3 episodes is just backlog a few things, get 5 or 6 episodes in the can so that y'all, we don't have to do the thing again where we go like 2 weeks to 2 months without giving you book coverage. Because as much as we love the show, we also love reading The Gathering Storm. So, and also a lot of cool shit's coming up that I don't want to wait too long for. You maybe know what it is, but Allie doesn't. We're here, though, to talk now about Chapter 29, Into Bandar Eben, and Chapter 30, Old Advice. Allie, did you take any notes?
I didn't actually this time, and I do apologize for that, I don't think. And I do apologize for that. My phone died while I was reading.
Terrible.
So I couldn't.
Not a problem. We're going to dive right in.
Let me just double check, though, first.
Did you check out this absolute banger of a map?
I did, of course.
Absolute
I love a map.
Fucking ripper.
No,
of a
I
map.
did not take notes this time because my phone died.
Where are we? Where is Bandar Eben? You can't look at the map. If you look at the map, it tells you where it is.
Bandar Eben Is in Ilion? No, it's in
You
it's
would
in,
think,
it,
but yeah.
no, it's in what's the place? Where Grendel is?
That's right.
It's where the Demani are.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the two.
Then you got it.
Eredamon.
Eredamon.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Abu Dar. We've got Bandar Aben, Eredamon, Abu Dar, and Farmatting, and all these other 2 names. It's great. Tarvalin. I fucking love this shit.
These books flip me
having
off
a
all the
wonderful
time.
I'm reading a book right now. There's a guy named Silan and a guy named Endest Silan. Although it turns out they are related. At first I was enraged, and then I read another half page.
I'm actually madder knowing they're related.
Father and son. Silan is Endest Silan's dad.
I'm against naming kids after yourself.
I don't know if it's his last name. It might be his last name.
I'm against it. I'm against it.
But
even if you're the
people.
most, and do what you want with your kid. I just side eye it a little bit. I'm like, what? Especially if you're a dude. I'm like, what? You got in most circumstances, not ours. You got the last name, and you're gonna give them your first name as well. Jeez, buddy.
It's tricky.
I mean, no, hey, do your thing. It just couldn't be me.
Pop off as it
couldn't
were.
be me. Couldn't be me. I just don't think I am impressive enough to do that. And even if I were, I'd still not think I was impressive enough to do. I don't know. I don't know. It just wouldn't be for me.
Allie, who are we with in this chapter?
We're with
We're in Bandar Aben. I'm going to pronounce it differently every single time we hear it.
Okay.
Who are we with?
We're with Rand.
We're with Rand. How's he?
Oh wait, I maybe did actually take notes.
You did, because I
did.
remember you started reading and you screamed, "Not the fucking list again."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I just didn't write ones for the next chapter.
Well,
Okay.
it was a Gawyn chapter, so I don't blame you. You were too busy
I'm really
trying
on chapter
not to.
30?
Yes.
Oh, I wrote this down erroneously as chapter 25.
Not correct. Respectfully.
That's why I was confused. Yeah, I just wrote in all caps, Avienda. That's correct.
No.
No?
Oh, maybe. No, she's gone.
Oh, no. Okay, so that was 25. So, no, I'm right.
Then you know what?
I'm right. But you know what? It's always a good time to bring up Avienda.
I am always happy when Avienda's on the brain.
Oh, okay.
She's a great character.
I saw Min and got confused in the chapter description. Sorry.
Min
Okay.
is in this chapter, and Rand spends this whole time going, well, she hates me now.
Oh, yeah. He does a whole thing.
So what's up with Rand? Give me the deets.
Here's the thing. He and Min have both been...
I love the sigh. Anytime I get the... Here's the thing. I know I'm going to have fun.
Here's the thing. So, Rand and Min have been through a trauma together where Rand strangled Min. But that wasn't his fault.
Objectively not his fault.
Now, here's the thing. I actually feel like I am in a unique position to comment on this because recently, Gus and I were together watching a production of something. And it was the kind of production where you could whisper a little bit and it wouldn't be disruptive, you know? And so we were kind of whispering back and forth, doing our thing. And all of a sudden I lean over to put my hand up to cup Gus's ear. And Gus brought his head down to listen to what I had to say at the same time. And I jammed by accident, of course, 2 of my fingers into Gus's eyeball.
It was great.
It was pretty upsetting. Gus was okay.
I'm fine. It hurt for
legitimately thought that I had gouged his eye. I got him quite good, and I felt really bad and instantly felt terrible. And Gus took it in stride. He was very nice. It was that thing of it hurts, but you're clearly trying not to make the other person feel bad that they hurt you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Where you're like, it's fine. And I'm like, I'm
all right.
It's not
fine.
because you're
Don't worry
tearing
about
up.
it.
It's not fine. And I was like, do I need to drive you to the hospital? Or did I blind you? I was so concerned. Instantly felt terrible.
I was fine.
And there's a part of me that's like, if I had somehow managed to gouge Gus's eye out, I think our marriage would be strong enough to survive that. But it's hard to move past even if it was an accident, you gouged out my eyeball. So, because I thought about it afterwards, I was like, thank God that I just hurt him a little bit for a moment. Because I really thought, I was like, oh no, I really messed that up. in a bad way where I've like blinded him in one eyeball. And that would have been not so great. I just don't think that's great for your relationship, even if it was an accident. And I was thinking about this with random men. I'm like, it wasn't his fault, of course. Traumatic still.
Yeah, a little upsetting.
To have your partner do to you.
For any involved parties.
Yeah. Traumatic for everyone. Everyone's traumatized. Therapy for everyone.
In my wheel of time?
But yeah, so I'm like, okay, I think they can move past this. However, Rand has never been the most emotionally intelligent person. He's got a lot going for him, and we're not hating on Rand, but he's not the most emotionally intelligent.
I don't think anybody is going to say that Rand is fully capable of grappling with and managing his emotions. I don't think anybody feels that way. If you feel that way,
somebody does.
What the fuck are you reading, respectfully? Because this man is not doing well in that capacity at all.
Not even a smidgen. But yeah, so he's in a bad way. He's like, oh, men in my relationship is forever like ruined because of what happened. And I'm like, I mean, or it will make you stronger. It will bring you together. I mean, because here's the thing. I think that there are things in this life that are really traumatic to go through together, and you can let it drive a wedge between you or let it drive you closer together. I think you get those two choices, right? And so I'm like, well, the way to guarantee that is to push her away.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of being weird too. In the way he's thinking about her, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, of the way he's thinking about her. Because he's like, well, I've just given up on the whole sending her away thing. Because, you know, and this is true because she's not going to be necessarily safe away from me either. And that is true. But like the way he phrased it was so to me.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but the way he
Rand
did
was the
like,
one who had been too weak to send Min away and protect her. He hadn't sent her away,
Okay,
not
too
because he
weak.
was
That's
too weak,
dumb.
but because something in him had stopped caring. Not
That-
about her.
I don't like that.
He
I don't
loved
like
her
that.
fiercely and always would, but he knew that death, pain, and destruction came in his wake, and he dragged them behind him like a cloak. Min might die here, but if he sent her away, she would be in just as much danger. His enemies likely suspected that he loved her. There was no safety. If she died, he would add her to the list and suffer for it.
okay,
And so will we, because the list is still here.
Okay, I don't like this for so many fucking reasons. I don't like it because I don't like the phrase stopped caring when it comes to a partner. Even if I understand that this could be interpreted as radical acceptance. I don't think that's what this is. I think it's wallowing.
It's kind of wallowing nihilism,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like what people think radical acceptance is.
Yeah.
Like when somebody comes up to me, is like, I'm a pessimist. I'm like, what does that do for you? I think I've said this before
You
in this
have,
podcast.
yeah, but it's
Like,
still
what
true.
does that do for you? Like you're just hurting yourself more. You're just sucking the fun out of life for yourself. But I guess go ahead and be cynical and pessimistic. I don't know. Like live your life how you need to live it. I'm not here to judge you. I just kind of sit here and go, or people who are like, I'm a hard laugh. You know, like I don't laugh easily. I'm like,
It's fun.
Why? What's the point of that? Like to prove how tough you are? Like what is the point of that?
Do you
That
know?
just makes life less fun. Like have fun with your not as fun life, I guess. I don't know.
Do you want to know how people, the shorthand people use to refer to Rand at this point? Now that he's done the
Dark
whole
Rand?
thing, Darth Rand.
Darth Rand. Okay. I'm going to call him Dark Randon.
Dark Randon.
Yeah. I think that's funny.
All right.
So Dark Randon, he's having a hard time. So yeah, okay. So he is having a tough time. And I get that. And I get that he's traumatized. Here's the thing. I hold space for that. I do. You know, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande style. I'm holding space for all of it. However, I also just don't feel like, the way he's talking about her kind of gives me just the feeling.
Well, he's kind of become a nihilist.
Yeah.
Which is not the great thing for the person who is the physical embodiment and representation of the champion of order.
And I've dated that. And I'm going to tell you, it's about as much fun as you think it is. So I'm going to say no to that.
Yeah.
But is it realistic for a traumatized 20-year-old to go to this space? Yes.
Oh, sure.
But I also don't like that he's like, when she dies, like, I would think, I'd be devastated. I'd never recover. I'd add her to the list of people
and suffer for it.
That includes such hits as woman you don't remember, woman where you go, oh yeah, and then Moraine. I'm like, we could reserve a more selective list.
Did he put Semirog on the list? Yes,
and Elza, which I was like, make that make sense. No. It's just not the same. I don't like this reduction. Okay. No, I've already been on this rant. But I'm just like, what is the point of this, Rand? What is the point of this flagellation? Like, I feel like a good therapist would have a field day with this as a coping mechanism, because I'm like, it is a poor one. It's terrible. It's just flagellating yourself. And I get it. I get that we can't always help it. I get it. I am traumatized as fuck. Okay. I am traumatized as fuck. I have not gone through life unscathed. So I'm not sitting here like a fucking hypocrite who's led an easy life going, well, just feel better. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is there are ways in which you are just wallowing in your own suffering.
I think, with Rand, a lot of it also comes from...
And I know that's depression. Believe me, I've had fucking depression.
A lot of what he's doing comes from... As he has to do more and more terrible things, he tries to hold on to some sense of being a human who is good. But he's since turned that into just like, I'm going to beat myself up over things that happen.
Give an orphan a snack. Like, why does it need to be this? Like, whenever I need to feel like I need to be a good human, I do things like give freedom rides to dogs.
This also, like, Perrin did this in book 4.
Freedom rides are when you go to a shelter on behalf of a rescue organization and help liberate the dog from there.
Perrin was starting to go down this path in book 4 when he was like remembering everybody who died, and then he started looking
to a worthy cause. Rand has money.
Then he started. Well, he's started schools. I mean, that's the other thing he's done is he's. Well,
let's linger on that for a bit.
He's trying to make his legacy one of creation, not one of destruction.
He needs to have
but he doesn't really think about that very much. He thinks about the list and the dead women, specifically the dead women, way more.
Mm-hmm. Listen, prescription to Lexapro, 1. 2, gratitude journal, meditation, regular meditation.
Positive self-talk.
Positive self-talk.
This is not advice, but these are just things that Rand might find works for him.
Regular low-impact exercise of some kind, whatever he's capable of doing. Just a little walk or something, or even a little like bicycle feet in bed, or I don't know. Just something, get the body moving a little bit, however that might go. And listen, I'm not sitting here going, try yoga. Like, no, of course not. But like,
it's not a fun head to be in.
Listen, there are ways in which all suffering is valid. Suffering is real. We are, like, many of us are suffering. I'm not going to sit here and belittle that. But there are ways in which we may augment our own suffering and ways in which we might be trying to do some harm reduction. And I definitely recommend the latter. Like, it's hanging out with friends, with friends who will support you and lend a good ear versus black tar heroin. Like, like one of these things is objectively better for you than the other. Even if you feel like shit doing both of those things, one of them is going to be better for you.
That's true.
We both know that. Well, I don't know about black tar heroin, but I definitely know. I definitely know the depths at which a human soul can be desperate and suffering. And you know what I think, and I'm not saying don't think about it, right? That's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying, like, there is radical acceptance of your own suffering and going, these things exist, they will always exist, and they are a part of my life. And there is me going out of my way to list the names of the people who have traumatized me every day. Like, which one of those things do you think is more helpful?
Here's the other fun thing.
And my life will always be suffering. It's like, no, it will be both.
His is even worse. He goes, well, luckily, I'm going to die when I'm done with this.
Well, so will I eventually, but I don't think about, like, I don't sit here and go, luckily. I'm like, that's all of us, actually, at the end of the day, not to trigger anyone, but like, at the end of the day, we're all here for a period of time and then it's over. And like, we have to figure out, even in the midst of the world being on fire, how to make life a little easier for ourselves as best we can, even in the depths of our suffering and the suffering of those around us. We have to figure out ways in which to receive and search and reach for joy, even if we don't feel it right away. Because here's the thing, reaching for joy is a practice.
That's true.
Learning how to smile is a practice. Learning how to be gracious and have gratitude is a practice. It is not always an easy fucking practice. And it is not, I don't go around feeling like sunshines and roses every goddamn day. But every day I show up and reach for it and see if it comes or not. If it doesn't, radical acceptance. If it does, radical acceptance of the joy, because the joy is also temporary. Every state is. You just have to learn placidity, not nihilism, placidity in the ups and downs of life. Like, you figure out, okay, I'm feeling joy right now, and that's wonderful. But this joy does not mean that I will feel joy for the rest of my life. We're not going to attach stories to this that then devastate us when, like, tomorrow I wake up and I have a bad hair day and I feel like shit. That's a mild example, but you know what I mean? My luteal phase hits and all of a sudden everything goes to shit, right? And when we are in the depths of suffering, I think we often operate under this assumption that that is the state of the world permanently, and that is the state of our lives permanently. And I hate to tell you this, but that's not true necessarily either. It's just kind of like life has these crests and these rises and falls, and you just learn how to cope with them. You just learn how to. And part of it is accepting that the state that you're in is always a temporary state, even if it feels like it isn't, and not attaching like larger suffering meanings to those things.
And obviously this is a very broad overview of this. And there's also things like clinical depression, which is different. Which I have had. Yes, I know.
And so I'm coming from a place of like, listen, yes, but then definitely also go seek a psychiatrist if you cannot make your own happy things in your brain.
They say?
Store-bought is okay.
Fine if you can.
Yeah, of course. No one's suggesting that like clinical depression doesn't. All these things exist and it's real. And like I'm not trying to make light of any of those things. I'm just saying that like there is, even in the midst of clinical depression, stuff that you can do to reach for nice things.
Well, speaking of nice things,
or you can sit there and reach for black tar heroin. And then we can suggest one being much, much better than the other. Because even when you feel like shit taking a walk, it's much better than feeling like shit taking black tar heroin.
We're going to take an ad break. We'll be right back.
Don't do heroin.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about the book now. Rant chapter.
We were talking about the book.
I mean, in terms of explicitly reading from it.
Oh, okay.
Rant chapter.
Like, excuse me, all that was
explicitly
irrelevant.
The book. He's doing the list again, and he's thinking about the shit and listing all the people, and he goes, I love this, and by love I mean want to smack him a little. The list always began with Moiraine. That name had hurt the most of all, for he could have saved her. He should have. He hated himself for allowing her to sacrifice herself for him. Just take that agency. Just take it.
First of all,
just take it. Just grab that shit. Fucking yeet that shit.
She's an adult fucking woman. And she was doing it to save your ass, because if you die, the world dies. How about what an amazing thing she did for the world? The world.
He's
not just your ass.
He's pondering whether Lanfear might be alive,
She did that
in which
for
case
every
she died
ass
for nothing.
on the planet. No, she didn't, because your ass is still goddamn alive, which means that the ass of everyone else on the planet is still goddamn alive. So it's a little self-centered, Rand.
Dobraine rolls up. How's Dobraine?
He's fine.
He's all right. He's like, hey, great news. We managed to capture and hold the capital city. And what's Rand's
response?
Rand's
like, he wants to be king of the city. And I'm like, all right, let's calm down.
What else, though? That's an important part of it. There's another part of it, too.
He's like wondering if he should trust Dobraine or whether or not Dobraine has been away from him for too long, which I'm like, he's been with your girlfriend helping with the task you gave.
Yeah.
Rand's shit at delegating.
Rand's paranoia is stacking. But there's one other thing which I think is funny.
I get why he's paranoid, but like, we have to be able to trust the people that have proven multiple times that they're trustworthy.
There's one other thing.
And he's also like, I'm not calling cats away and back to me.
One other thing I think is funny about
Which
Dobraine.
I think is also stupid.
Dobraine's like, hey, I managed to pacify the capital city. And Rand is like, I told you to pacify the whole fucking country, you little shitball. And Dobraine is like,
okay.
Oh, my bad.
You're being a bad boss. Rome wasn't built in a day. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We have to be able to celebrate the wins. Oh my God. Just because I don't have an Oscar right now doesn't mean that my career isn't going great. Oh my God. I saw somebody refer to somebody getting an Oscar as their big break. And I was like, as opposed to what? That is the height of your career. Like, and not even probably, because here's the thing. If I won an Oscar, I'd be like simultaneously so overjoyed. But if I got one, I'd be so embarrassed. Like, because you kind of, I'm sure there's a little depression that happens afterward where you're like,
now what? Yeah.
I'm like, but your big break being Hillary Swank's big break being winning an Oscar for Boys Don't Cry. I was like, what? And then they were like, why wasn't she in anything good again until $1 Million Baby? I was like, her other Oscar winning role? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? They were like, I wish Hollywood knew. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I had a mentor say to me recently, and this actually really changed my life. He was like, you have to learn how to celebrate yourself and your wins, no matter how small those wins may be. Like, getting out of bed is a win. Like, because not every day are you able to do that. And I was like, it's true. And he was like, so you have to every day be celebrating your wins. He's like, otherwise you are going to burn yourself out and get bitter.
I asked you to restore order to the entire country, Dobraine. Rand said softly, not just one city.
Rand.
The nobleman wilted slightly. You have one of the merchant...
I can't even listen to this.
You have one of the merchant council for me? Rand asked. Yes, Dobraine said.
He wilted...
Melissa Chadma.
You took the wind out of his fucking sails. He did something good for you. I would go to the dark side if a boss talked to me that way.
Lost to flee the city's chaos. His eyes were eager. He'd always been stalwart, but was that a ruse?
Like, need I remind you at the end of the day, you're just somebody's boss.
Rand had trouble trusting anyone lately. The ones who seemed most trustworthy were the ones you needed to watch the most.
That is insane. That is absolutely bullshit.
I had a boss once give me a performance review where he said, well, I haven't noticed you making any mistakes, but that doesn't mean that you aren't making them and I'm missing them.
Yeah, fuck that.
So watch out.
Fuck that.
I quit that job almost immediately.
Yes, because fuck that. Fuck that. Literally fuck that.
So...
like, actually stick your dick in that and fuck it. That is such bullshit garbage. I saw a LinkedIn lunatics post. That's a subreddit on Reddit. Mm-hmm. This guy was like, I fired my best performer because he was still performing the best, but it wasn't as good as his normal. And that should show everyone never be complacent. And I was like, that is so batshit. That is so batshit. That is so... appreciate people for the things they do for you. Otherwise, guess what? Because I bet he was not being appreciated, or she. I should not assume, but I think he did refer to him as a man. So I'm like, guess what happens when people don't feel appreciated? First of all, you cannot give 100% every day. That's not a thing.
No.
You cannot outperform yourself every day.
Well,
that's just garbage mindset. But second, wait, and then you go.
Yep.
Then also, I'm sure, given that attitude, that he was not being appreciated at all, right? That he's like, well, this is what you should be doing. And then, yeah, I would start to slack off a little bit too, because you know what? I'm still the top fucking performer. And also, nobody apparently notices the work I put in anyway. So I might as well bump it down a notch.
The only things in nature that grow constantly are cancers and lobsters.
You know what? I need you to print that out as a quote and put it on my mirror.
The lobsters eventually
that might have
die.
just changed my life. That puts things into perspective. I'm going to think about that for 7 to 10 business days.
This is, I'm not an economist, but every time somebody is like, you know, such and such company floundering, having their growth reduced from 8% to 6%, I'm like, what?
Well, it's almost as if
there's a limited number of people.
It's almost as if, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I was like, it's almost as if that people are not an unlimited resource.
Anyway, okay, all right. Wheel time, Rand, having a terrible.
That's why we're all so overstimulated, because our attention has been commodified.
You know what is a limitless resource? Rand's shitty mental health. So Rand, if you put
what's been
that
good for my shitty mental health? I'm not on social media anymore.
That's awesome, and that's the move. Rand puts Elza and Semirog's names on the list while he continues to do the list.
I did let myself scroll Reddit this morning as a treat, which is how I saw the two things.
Breakdown.
And then I saw the two things that I saw, which were the Hillary Swank comment and the LinkedIn Lunatics post. And then I saw a couple political things, and I was like, that's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, and a dead dog. And I was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? I had a panic attack, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how this feels, being this accessible all the damn time. I'm not meant to know this much, actually. And that's not to say don't pay attention, because you should be paying attention. But like, be thoughtful about where you're putting your attention.
The city, everything sucks. Here's a paragraph that made me stop, quirk my eyebrow, and go, what the fuck?
Everything Rand says?
No, it wasn't even that. Copper-skinned and dark-haired, the Domani favored bright clothing.
Oh, no.
Domani women were infamous for their dresses, which were filmy enough to be scandalous. It was said that very young Domani girls practiced the art of manipulating men, preparing for the day when they would be of age.
That's the worst sentence. That might be the worst sentence that's been in this book.
Anyway,
it's been a while. It's been a while.
Minute.
I've been spoiled by this book, I think, because it's been a while since I've wanted to rip my own eyeballs out and cast them into the sea. But today, and then, you know what? I instantly forgot about it because I was like, I need to not ever think about those words again. And then
we're going to take it and we're going to leave it in the past and we're never going to bring it up ever again. Rand is thinking about...
They're like, sometimes the children groom you.
Oh, God.
I'm like, excuse me?
Rand is like checking out all the. He's like,
someone's
wow,
gonna like
starving.
One day try to have a gotcha by sound biting that for me. Do you ever think about that's like something you said out of context when like clearly I disapprove of that? And let me be very clear, I disapprove of everything in that sentence.
Yeah.
But do you ever like sometimes go like, if one day I do win an Oscar, maybe someone will like pull that quote and try to gotcha me with it?
Well, the people who would hate us for things like that are already looking for a reason to be haters. And I don't really have much time for that.
No, I know. But you know what I mean? Where you're just like, and then I'm going to have to come out and be like, here's the rest of the clip, you fucks.
Yeah, it's fun. Rand,
But by then, like,
it doesn't
half the
matter
people who
because
engaged
it's
with
gone
it will
viral
believe
on
it's real. I
whatever
know.
social media site is prevalent at
God,
that time.
being a celebrity right now must be the fucking worst.
I don't envy them. Rand's doing terrible, and he's looking and he's trying to find some shit and trying to find some peeps and trying to find there's a horse.
Lord, may that level of success never find me.
Maurice rolls up and she's like, "You gotta let Ch29 talk to you again. This is dumb as hell. She's just sitting over there with her hood up." Because you said you wouldn't you couldn't see her face. If you saw her face, you'd kill her. So now she's just wearing a fucking hood all the time, which I think is funny.
Ch29 is?
Ch29's just like wearing a hood up.
That's so funny. I did miss that part.
She's like 10 feet away wearing a hood all the time.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and Rand is like, all right, that's fine. And Maurice is like, it's really hot. Can you just tell her that it's okay and get over yourself?
Old. I'm a big fan of malicious compliance.
You should beg for her forgiveness. Marie, she's not Niall. You should beg for her forgiveness. Okay. She has condescended to continue with us.
I'm not going to do.
Though your inane restriction has forced her to wear a cloak with the hood up despite the warmth of day. You should be ashamed. And Rand just stares directly at her.
Now, here's the thing. Rand's wrong for this, but this lady's also dumb.
Yeah, Marie, yes. It's a lot.
Like, both of these things can be true. Like, Rand was wrong for treating Ch29 that way, I feel. But he's also approaching people who have good news for him with, well, why didn't you do better news?
Rand,
like, go fuck yourself. Honestly, fuck you. Fuck you, Rand. Like, fuck Rand. Like, at this point, I'm pissed. I'm so annoyed with him that I want to just, like, give him a sorely. I want to bully this man. I'm not pro bullying.
Smack the shit out of him.
I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm on Ch29's side. I'm on everyone's side. It's making me reevaluate my stance on spanking on. No, I literally, these three boys make me grind my teeth like nobody's bit. Like, I have TMJ from birth, probably. And it's not helping the situation at all. If I had to deal with them on a day-to-day basis, my jaw would just snap off like a skeleton.
Rand is like, I think this is actually entirely justified because if it's entirely her fault that I nearly got fucking captured and the world nearly ended.
And you've certainly never made a mistake.
So maybe you should all go fuck yourselves.
You've certainly never had a thing that you regret doing.
She goes, yes, but mistakes, you yourself have made them.
Yes.
They might have ended in similar disaster. And he goes, I pay for my mistakes.
What?
I pay for them every day.
Each
hour, each breath.
Enough. And I don't want the world to see me.
And then two balconies.
I don't think that they'd understand.
And then two balconies on either side of the street collapse.
That feels like an overreaction, Rand.
It's ta'Veren.
I know.
How's ta'Veren doing? Is it still random events that are sometimes good, sometimes bad?
It seems like it's connected to his emotions.
It seems like it's just random events that are bad now. We did it, Rand. We saved the city.
And then he just like rides off. And I'm like, if I saw this behavior as a random person on the street, I'd be like, fuck this guy. He doesn't care about people at all.
Oh, what's he carrying with him at all times?
Like,
now?
he's not instructing people to go help. Like, nothing.
Well, the guy said I go help.
Well, yeah, but whatever. I don't know.
What?
He's bugging me. He's got a fucking attitude problem.
I agree.
This is what's wrong with America's youth. No.
What is Rand carrying with him at all times, by the way?
The statue with the ball.
Yeah, the tiny portable nuclear bomb.
Which seems like a choice.
It's not what I would do.
Well,
I would not go for that.
In his defense, he's a dickhead.
He's also like...
No, in his defense, like, if he leaves it unattended, it's also vulnerable. So I guess you might as well like with Min. I guess Min's just a statue that he carries around with him also.
You did once say you should keep Min with you all the time and just point her at people.
He should. Why doesn't he do it more? He talks about using people and stuff and how he has to use people, and then he doesn't use one of the biggest tools at his disposal. Like, make it make sense, Randall.
According to Rand, the reason he carries around the access key is because when he got that sweet the true power hit, it was so cool and so awesome that he really kind of wants to do it again. And the only thing that comes close to that is using the tactical nuclear bomb that he can keep in his pocket. So he keeps it in his pocket so that if he has to use a bunch of power, he uses that instead of using the true power.
I mean, that's probably better.
It is probably a little bit better.
Considering the botched LASIK job that fucking Ishamael had.
Meanwhile, often he also thinks about how he will never be collared again, and off in the distance, Gawyn is like, mood as fuck. And
I mean, this is my thing. I get it. He's just insufferable sometimes. Like, have you ever spoken to somebody who's just determined to be miserable?
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I have actual depression. How am I more of a hang than you? Do you know what I mean?
He goes to this new house they've got. He thinks about where Avienda might be, and he's like, well. Like, my brain doesn't make dopamine. How am I more fun to be around? Like, if that is the case, then something is off. There's maidens and stuff, and
or therapy works.
This merchant councilwoman is still there, and Rand tells the Aiel, "Yo, y'all can do the taking the fifth thing, but only rich people." And I'm like, yeah, all right,
that's fine.
Sure,
I'm cool with that.
You should let it be like the third, though, because then it kind of, really, it'd probably be like the fifth and then another 0.5% if you wanted to equivocate, whatever.
No, I think we should all have to pay the same amount of taxes.
No, you
that
don't.
Makes sense.
All right, moving on.
That makes sense.
No, wait.
That is not it. Wait, hold on. Before we continue, can I get a cheese stick? I'm so hungry.
You want a cheese stick or a baby bill?
Yeah, because all I had was a papaya salad for lunch, and now I'm like, I needed more food than that.
Okay, I'm going to pause.
Also, I'm realizing I didn't put that papaya salad in the fridge.
I'll put it in the fridge. She got her cheese.
I needed a cheese stick. I was hungry. All I had for lunch was a papaya salad.
Delicious.
And that's great, but was not enough food.
The Bandarab and Rand, so he goes in to meet with, what is her name? Milicer Chadmar. Before he goes in, he turns to Dobraine and goes, "You've done well here, even if you haven't brought order as widely as I wish." And then he sends him to Tyr, and he's like, "Tell Darlin to stop pestering me with messengers. He's to keep gathering his forces. I'll bring him to Era Daman when I decide the time is right." Dobraine is like, "Oh, okay. Guess I'll go do that." Rand might be right that Dobraine was hoping for a little bit of control and power here, but I'm also kind of like, well...
God forbid we want a little kickback for doing a good job. Sorry. A man's not allowed to have ambition.
And Rand does think to himself, what is happening to me?
Man's not allowed to hope.
I need to trust some people, don't I?
This is thought police bullshit.
So he is being kind of hard on himself for this, which is nice. And then he sits down and he meets with Milicer Chadmar. How's this meeting go?
Who's Milicer Chadmar?
She's Milicer Chadmar, man. Millie, not Millie Skane, the other Millie. We know her, we love her. She's definitely been named before this chapter.
Oh yeah, definitely know her so well.
She's one of the merchant council people who picks a king.
Oh yeah, and he's like, okay, he's not hard enough on himself about the Dobraine thing apparently, because he's really mean to her as well for no fucking reason.
He's like, yeah, might need to fucking chop her head off, you know?
Can I be real? You just being immediately aggro to somebody makes them more likely to cut your head off, I think.
She's like, hey, what's up? And he goes, where the fuck is Al-Salam?
She's like, I was hoping you could tell me.
I don't know. And he's like, bring me the person who sent you the letter from Al-Salam. And she's like, I don't know where they are.
That'd be like, find the,
Now, to Rand's credit, she goes,
find the nurse that led you into the doctor's office yesterday. I'd be like,
no, because Rand goes, you fucking with me? And she's like, I interrogated that messenger and he didn't know anything.
Well,
so don't worry about it. And Rand's like, all right, did you kill him? She's like, no. He's like, all right, great. Bring him over here and then I'll dig into his shit and figure that shit out myself.
She's like, I can't remember who he was.
No, she has him in jail.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Why does she still have him in jail? He doesn't know anything.
I don't know.
That's dumb. Well, I don't like her either. I don't like either of these people. If I were the poor, I'd rise up.
And she's like, hey, here's a thought. Fuck Al-Salam, we can just crown your ass. And he's like, I don't want that. I'm not about it.
Well, no, she just assumes. That's what he wants. And he's like, that's not what I'm here to do.
Bring me the messenger, Melissaire, and perhaps you'll live to see a new king crowned. You're dismissed.
All right, that perhaps is doing a lot of work right now.
And she leaves, and Min kind of walks by and is like, huh. And Rand is like, she hates me, doesn't she?
Well,
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I would. Not because of the neck thing. That's not your fault. But because of everything else that you're behaving like. I'd be like, I've got the ick.
And then Rand is like, you know what's going to be fun and people are going to need it? Grain distribution. We're going to talk about grain distribution.
No. I refuse to talk about
page.
that. Okay.
And I'm going to find
Al-Salam. Oh, thank God it's off page.
And then I'm going to fuck up Grendel. Going to fuck her up. Got to find her, fuck her up. She could be here, blow her shit right the fuck up. Got to fuck her up.
Before that, let's ask her who killed Asmodean.
If he did find her, he would see that she died by balefire, just like Semirhage.
And then he'd add her to his list.
He would do what
along
must
with his girlfriend.
be done. And that's the end of chapter.
I'll add her to the list and suffer for it.
29.
What?
Chapter 30, Allie, old advice is logo.
I just feel like your girlfriend should get on a special list of sadness. You know what I mean?
The logo from the last chapter, by the way, was the dragon in the box. The logo now is the heron-marked blade. Who is it? Who is it?
I want to skip this chapter.
Gawyn Trakand.
You
now,
know,
every time you hear that, da-da-da-da, I want you to think Gawyn Trakand. Don't
Here's
do
the thing
that.
about Brandon Sanderson. He's bringing me a lot more Gawyn than I need.
Well, yeah.
I need exactly 0 Gawyn.
Exactly, no Gawyn. Gawyn, he's hanging out. What's he up to?
Being a dickhead.
Being a dickhead. Gawyn remembered
You know
very
what?
little.
Here's the thing. As much as I'm not liking Rand right now, leagues better than this chump.
He has a fond memory of Tarangale, one of his few memories of Tarangale, which is Tarangale walking Galad through a garden and going, here's people you should never trust. Pretty women
Okay.
and Aes Sedai.
Okay, sounds like he's a misogynist.
Light help you, son, if you ever have to face someone who is both.
Sounds like you're first of all, isn't his wife canonically a pretty woman?
Yes.
And who, okay, question also, who was trying to kill their wife?
He was.
Seems like the pretty woman's not the problem. Am I right in terms of trustworthiness?
What's up with Lelaine? He's hanging out with Lelaine, your favorite character and mine, Lelaine. How's she?
She's fine.
She's fine. She's really interested in Andorran taxation policy as affected by Elaine Trakand.
I mean, it sounds like it's super interesting.
You know what she should be interested in from Andor? What's the
Gawyn?
economic backbone of Andor?
Oh, alum?
Alum! All right.
Alum.
And
Alum.
she's like,
Steve.
she's like, yeah, we can't rescue her. Shut the fuck up. And Gawyn goes, Egwene is trying to protect you. That's why she commanded you to forgo a rescue. She obviously doesn't want you to risk yourselves. She's self-sacrificing to a fault.
Okay.
And Lelaine is like, maybe you should let her do what she wants
Okay.
instead of assuming you know better when you just arrived at this situation 8 minutes ago.
This motherfucker.
She's trying to put
This
you...
motherfucker somehow is trying to take agency away from, like, every woman there.
She's trying to put your worries at ease, Lelaine Sedai. I'm a fair judge of people, young Trakand. I do not think she feels she is in danger. I do not doubt you, but perhaps if I knew how it is you communicate with her, I could judge better. If I could... And she's like, will you shove your head all the way up your ass?
How about you just shut the fuck up and never speak again? I wish I could revoke people's speaking privileges.
Perhaps.
Start with my own.
Perhaps you are right, Lelaine Sedai. Perhaps Egwene does believe herself to be safe, but isn't there a possibility that she is wrong? You can't honestly believe that Elida will let a woman who claimed to be Amelin wander around the White Tower free. This is obviously just a means of showing off a captured rival before executing her. And Lelaine is like, again, none of my fucking business, because she told us not to rescue her. And, I respect women in positions of authority. That's not actually why. It's because she likes having Egwene be captured, and she's kind of hoping that Egwene will just disappear so that then she can be Amerlin. So it's not exactly
Prince in the Tower vibes.
Yeah.
Princes.
She's like, now give me the rundown on the taxation policy in Andor, specifically regarding House Tremaine's fruit orchards. Under your mother, the tax assessments on the land were very favorable toward Tremaine. Will Elaine revoke this special privilege, or will she try to use it as honey to soothe those who stood against her?
Is she related to those people? Is that why she gives a shit so much?
No.
Because that would make more sense. Lelaine Tremaine? Is that her name?
I don't remember what Lelaine's last name is.
What if she's Lelaine Tremaine?
That would be amazing.
All of the Tremaine's names have to rhyme with Tremaine.
That's Romaine, Lelaine, Brain.
Egwene.
Big Brain.
Elaine.
Big Brain Tremaine. Elaine Tremaine.
Dobraine.
Dobraine Tremaine. Yeah.
Moraine. Whoa.
Moraine Tremaine.
There's actually a lot of names that fit. Isn't Lady Tremaine the wicked stepmother in Cinderella?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
They talk about taxation policy for a while, and then he's like, what a waste of time. I could be doing the thing as the rightful main character of this book, saving the girl, planting a kiss on her, doing all of those sorts of things that are my birthright as the main character. And I don't like him. And any thoughts on this chapter?
Now listen, in fairness to Gawyn, if you were being held hostage by a hostile force, and people were
I also would be losing
there.
My fucking mind if you were captured. I completely get it.
It's just also annoying. Both things can be true. We also found Perrin annoying during this exact scenario. It turns out that what?
I didn't say anything.
It turns out that this makes you a little annoying. But I'd be annoying too.
Gawyn's got a meeting with Bryn. Some of Bryn's soldiers keep on giving him the evil eye, and he's like, well, I did kill their friends, so, I guess, fair. And he goes to this meeting with Gareth Bryn. What happens in this meeting with Gareth Bryn, Al?
Gareth Bryn is like, hey, we're gonna probably go kill all those boys now.
Yeah.
And Gawyn goes, don't do that.
He's like, tell me where your raiders are based. And Gawyn is like, I'm not gonna fucking
do that. And he's like, you're gonna do that. And he goes, what are you gonna do? Put me to the question? I'm like,
you expect me to let a potential advantage lie untaken? What you have in that brain of yours could save lives. Or cost lives, if you look at it from the other side. Don't make this difficult,
You
Gawyn.
are so both sides
Well,
about
what?
everything.
You'll put me to the question.
Both sides. Oh,
You'd suffer for them. They're my men. And then he thinks about how he can't wait to see Randall Thor dead.
Which just, my God, man. He's going to do something so stupid that it's going to blow my mind, isn't it? It's going to blow my mind, the stupidity of this man.
You're going to have to read and find out.
No.
And to Gawyn's credit, he goes, they're youths, Bryn. Youths barely past their training. They belong on the sparring field, not on the battlefield. Their hearts are good.
Who recruited them?
And their skills sound, but they're much less a threat to you now that I'm gone. I was the one who knew your strategy. Without me, they'll have a much harder time of their raids. I suspect that if they continue to strike, they shall have their day with the butcher soon enough.
God, the Tricans really need to be on Jerry Springer.
No need for me to hasten them along. And Brenda's like, all right, but if they keep killing my men effectively, I will make you, do a full report. And Gawyn is like,
which I feel like is fair.
But you know what I should do instead of that? Single-handedly bring about peace between these two factions of women. I'll tell them they're both pretty. That'll work. I'm being really mean to Gawyn because I like to be really mean to Gawyn. Allie has turned into some kind of grumbling toad, it sounds like, based on the noise she's making.
I've never full-on growled before. He just rankles. He just wrangles. I wouldn't be friends with this man.
Also, Gawyn is like, Gareth, you can't attack the White Tower. Brenda's like, I kind of do what the women in charge tell me to do. And he's like, no, but like you can't fucking attack the White Tower. That's the last resort. That'd be the worst thing, and we could never recover from it. And he's kind of right.
My brother in Christ.
He's kind of right, though.
It is the apocalypse.
But he is also kind of right.
But my brother in Christ, it is the apocalypse. Like, we cannot be surprised when shit is going to shit. It is the apocalypse. We already know this. Also, he's like, I can't wait to kill the savior of the world. Good luck with that, brethren.
I'm wondering why it matters to you. I thought you were just here for a Gawyn. Who are you, Gawyn Trakand? What are your allegiances, really? You know me better than most, Gareth.
And he's asking you that question because all of the decisions you make are so goddamn batshit.
I know.
He knows you better than anyone. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing, my man?
I know who you were supposed to be.
Ooh.
First Prince of the Sword.
Ooh.
Trained by warders, but bonded to no woman.
He's pulling your rank against you.
And that's not
delicious.
And that's not what I am. Peace, son. This wasn't meant to be an insult.
Like
just an observation.
I just...
I know you were never as single-minded as your brother.
Can't help but notice that you're not currently doing your job. And instead they're making my job harder.
I should have seen this in you. And
Gallad would have been a much better Prince of the Sword.
The thing that Gawyn is
because
facing,
he would never leave your side.
No, that's
He'd
true.
be like Petey. Petey never leaves my side. He would be next to me like he is currently next to me at all times. It would be annoying in a different way, but he would be doing his job very well.
It's a thing most soldiers never face, Gawyn. They may consider it, but they don't let it torment them. This question's for someone else. Someone higher up. What question? Choosing a side. And once you've picked one, deciding if you made the right decision. The foot soldiers don't have to make this choice, but those of us who lead, yes, I can see it in you.
Do the foot soldiers not have to decide if they're picking a good team?
Famously, that's called desertion, and you're killed if you do that.
That's garbage. That's bullshit. If I'm not happy with management, I'm leaving.
Yes, this is why you're
not in the military. I know. I would fail that psychological exam so fast.
I believe you would be court-martialed for that.
Okay. I don't got to do what I don't want to do.
That's not how it works when you're in the military.
That's why I'm not in the military.
Yeah. And he goes, you're pretty good with this sword, though. Who are you loyal to with that? For Elaine. As you do now. Well, once I say the Gawyn. And if a Gawyn won't go?
But what if this... they can't force you to fight if it no longer aligns with your values. That's bullshit.
That's not really how that works.
I think that's kind of bullshit. I gotta be honest.
And if a Gawyn won't go, I'll take her away.
Okay, well
back to Endor.
That's garbage.
And will you force her to go as you forced your way into my camp? Will you become a bully and a footpad, remarkable only because of your ability to kill or punish those who disagree with you?
What the fuck's a footpad?
Bandit.
Oh, today I learned. Keep going.
Did you question once? Yes, more than once. I wasn't Captain General during the Aiel War, but I was a ranked captain. I wondered then many times. Yes, what?
Is it not desertion if you're like upper ranks too? Are you not court-martialed for walking away?
No, you also are. He's talking about being basically a free agent leader of men who gets to pick a cause he's following.
Well, okay.
Because there's not a ton of standing armies, you may have noticed, in these books. There's the White Cloaks, there's certain guards, but I don't think, Andor has like a massive army. I think they probably raise levies when they have to go, because it's kind of a feudalistic society. Most nations don't seem to have a standing outfitted army, which is probably part of why the Seanchan just rolled over the entire Westland so far, is because they do have a standing army. Like, Ilion has some. They have the Companions, which is basically a foreign legion. And Andor appears to kind of just have the Queen's Guards.
Bummer.
The Borderlanders have their organized raiders and skirmishers and people who fight back. The Blight... Kyrian has guards. Tyr has guards. Like, most of these places just have guards, as far as I can tell. They don't seem to really have, like, an organized military. And it doesn't really seem to... Like, there's a lot of mercenary armies. right?
Mm-hmm.
Famously, the only one that is not shitty, apparently, is the Band of the Red Hand. Because every other one is like, they're double-teaming betrayers, and I don't want to trust them, and I might have to decapitate their leader, and they'll kill their friends today and drink with them tomorrow. Whereas the Band is the Band, and apparently is exempt from this because they're led by Matt Cawthon, and they're the protagonist's mercenary army.
Taviran.
Yeah. But, like, I'm pretty sure what Bryn is talking about here is in the scope of, like, when you are one who does not have to make decisions and is told what to do, there is a certain level of abdication of responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas when you are in charge and when you are the person making the decisions, because, like, if you're rank and file in this case, it's like, well, I had to do this or they would have killed me.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in charge of something, you kind of, like, they had to convince Bryn to take on this cause.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
And-
I've been watching Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
And Gareth Bryn has fought for a number of different causes at this point, including the Aiel War, during which war he was like, I'm not really sure we're doing the right thing. And he considered what to do about that, but ultimately stuck with his guns.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Gawyn is facing something that, as a soldier or somebody who is sworn to a single cause, which ostensibly he was, as First Prince of the Sword, arguably shouldn't have to necessarily. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's good to not be a critical thinker. Obviously, you should always be a critical thinker. But in the context of
It's overrated.
Operating as a
Just do what
as
they
a
tell you.
sword arm, Gawyn is in a position now where he is having to actively make choices about who to follow, when all of his life he expected, I'm going to follow Elaine and that's it.
Well, Gareth's argument is kind of like, you still could just go back to your sister
Yeah.
and let me handle my shit over here.
Yeah.
So he does have that ability to just make that decision.
He does. He could.
But
Yeah. And what are they talking about here? How could you question your side during the Aiel War of all things? They came to slaughter. They didn't come for us. They just wanted the Kyrian. And of course, that wasn't so easy to see at first. But truth be told, some of us wondered. Layman deserved his death. Why should we die to stand in the way of it? Maybe more of us should have asked the question. Then what's the answer? Where do you put your trust? Whom do I serve? I don't know. Then why ask in the first place? I don't
it's up
know
to you to decide.
the answer, because there isn't one. At least each person's answer is their own. When I was young, I fought for honor.
There is actually a right answer, and it's not a light up.
Eventually, I realized there was little honor to be found in killing, and I found that I had changed. Then I fought because I served your mother. I trusted her. When she failed me, I began to wonder again. What of all those years of service? What of the men I'd killed in her name? What did any of that mean? You wonder why I'm here instead of in Andor?
Man goes through one breakup and
It's because I can't let it go. It's because the world is changing, and I need to be a part of it. It's because once everything in Andor was taken from me, I needed a new place for my loyalty. The pattern brought me this opportunity. And you chose it just because it was there? No, I picked it because I'm a fool. But I stayed because it was right. And I also picked it because I thought Swan had cute eyes and a nice butt, apparently.
Yeah.
So I chased her across the country.
Good thing the pattern brought you someone with cute eyes and a nice butt.
There you go. Yes, I've actually come to... I've seen what a terrible leader can do to a kingdom. That's true. Elida can't be allowed to pull this world down with her.
Morghese isn't a terrible leader. She had a bad thing happen.
He's talking about Elida.
Yeah, but...
He is also talking about Morghese
also-
when she was being brainwashed.
Yeah, but
Yes.
and I know he doesn't know that is what happened.
Yeah. I've actually come to believe them, fool women, but by the light, Gawyn, they're right. What I'm doing is right. She's right. Bloody woman. Gawyn is like, wait a minute, you saying Gawyn is like actually in charge here? She's
Yes.
like legitimately in charge? Because I thought she was people-pleasing by letting them say she was in charge.
Nah.
My motives aren't important to you, son. You're not one of my soldiers. But you'll need to make some decisions. In the days coming, you'll need to have a side, and you'll need to know why you've chosen it. That's all I can say on this matter. He's like, but what if my girlfriend doesn't want to come with me?
That's tough. Stuff happens.
War, battles, conflicts, changes. Gawyn felt as if he didn't know what the different sides were, let alone which one to pick for himself. Well, maybe you should have fucking thought about that before you helped depose Swan Sanche, you cow!
I hate him.
I love this guy. I don't. And by cow, I mean person standing there slack-jawed like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to kind of go with this.
Oh, I guess I just got to depose the Amerlin. Oh, wait, the new Amerlin's way worse? What? But the price of eggs. Anyway.
Gawyn is interesting because I feel like this is kind of the thing we've been reckoning with his character this entire time. And Bryn saying all this, honestly, I kind of love it because he was just like, you need to actually figure out what you stand for, what your principles are, and what you're going to fucking fight for.
Things through.
Because so far you just kind of like flap around and show up places and do shit.
Yeah.
And that's not a good quality.
That's not like a great way to live life. You've got to kind of figure out your principles.
Is he going to figure out his principles?
Wild that he made it to 20 and doesn't have principles.
You know, it would help to have some before you're like 20.
That's actually wild. Like not even a few, other than sister good.
That's what he was brought up as. He was told that his entire life's purpose was sister good.
It's almost as if having a single purpose is bad.
It's almost
you
like
gotta have like a couple. You gotta
having
have a hobby.
well-rounded.
Does he have a hobby?
Killing his bosses and his mentors, apparently. Gawyn, mentor killer Trakand.
Betraying everyone.
Betraying the people who
trusted him.
And then telling women what to do.
Betraying his mentors. That is Gawyn Trakand's hobby. Like, does he have a hobby? Because sword fighting is not a hobby, because that is a means to an end with his main purpose. Does he whittle?
Well, he used to be a big Two Rivers fan, but now his hobby now is murder Rand al'Thor because Old Mill the Peddler told me to.
That's not a hobby.
We all love Old Mill the Peddler,
Does he play
the wisest man in the Westlands.
Oh my God.
Old Mill for president. He would be better. All right, so this podcast is brought to you by Old Mill. Vote for Old Mill. He'll just say whatever the fuck he's thinking, and Gawyn Trakand will believe him.
With apparently no thought to the consequences.
Not even a fucking second of rational thought behind
Won't
those
even
eyes.
Listen to his girlfriend about it.
Not
who was
his girlfriend.
Literally there.
The love of his life, his mentor, every single
his mom
person
could come to him and be like, I'm
I am
alive.
Not dead.
Rand didn't kill me. And he'd be like, Rand told you to say that.
To be like, yeah, but I saw some AI art that suggested that you were dead. And so that is a thing that is theoretically possible that it could have happened.
There was an eagle in it too.
So, you know,
for some reason.
And Jesus turning into an airplane. Holding up a flight attendant whose head was a loaf of bread for
with
some
an American
fucking
flag.
reason.
Who knows what's happening here?
Anyway, not to talk too much about Gawyn Trakand, but that is who is the point of view chapter of the chapter.
We're all happy about it.
You know what I'm excited for? To continue reading. We're actually coming up on a number of chapters that we need to do live reactions for, which we're going to try to do before the show. We're going to try to get there.
Said Saturday and Sunday.
We're hoping to... I can't promise that.
Okay.
But we're hoping to do live reactions to Chapter 37 of Force of Light and Chapter 38, News in Taliran Riyadh, this weekend, if we can, for patrons. But that's contingent on us getting a lot of shit recorded between now and then, which we're going to try to do, because again, I really, really don't want to just freeze the Gathering Storm right here for 6 weeks, because that would suck.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. I would get so comfy saying that. I go like, we got social media if you want to know what we got going on. And I was like, that's not enunciating. It's linked down below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes. And you can always leave us a rating and or a review, which helps a lot. Other than that, anything else, Allie?
God. Between Rand and Gawyn, it's like battle of the depressed redheads.
It's just like a hard day for these guys.
All right.
This episode is probably going to be called
Battle of the Depressed Redheads.
the Goose of Time, or whatever it was I said earlier.
The Goose of Time.
Neither beginnings nor endings to the Wheel of Geese, or I don't know, fucking. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.